How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Adam Morissette here from Baseball Canada. And throughout this pandemic, we've been bringing you some Instagram live sessions, and we've covered junior national team, women's national team. We've covered the draft. We covered some of the startup baseball programs return to play after that pandemic. So we thought today we'd bring on Randy Crouse, Challenger Baseball Canada National Coordinator, to give us an update on Challenger Baseball across the country and talk about some real exciting initiatives that have been happening in Challenger Baseball Canada over the years. Obviously, like anything else, COVID has affected Challenger Baseball and what programs are able to do across the country to this point. So Randy's also going to provide an update on some of the initiatives happening around that, including a really exciting event that's going to be happening in August. So first off, Randy, welcome. These days, these conversations have to start with a question. Obviously, how are you doing, you and your family out in Nova Scotia, given the current circumstances?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, no, it's definitely different times, making the best of it. Like I said, we have a 9-year-old son, so our biggest goal now is keeping him occupied and like I say, getting off the screens and getting outside. So it's definitely a different time, but we're making the best of it.
Awesome. So Randy, some of the people watching today may never have even heard about the Challenger Baseball program, a program that has been around quite some time and been around in Canada for quite some time. So if you're talking to somebody, Randy, for the first time about Challenger Baseball, they have no idea what it is.
Sure.
What are you telling them?
Challenger Baseball is an adaptive program. We provide for children, youth, and adults with cognitive or physical disabilities. And basically, the program is adapted to each individual person. We provide buddies for those who need buddies, and buddies are there to help the athletes with anything they need help with. Some kids need help with all aspects: throwing, getting on the bases, fielding. Other people just need the encouragement of a buddy there to provide that support. Our main goal is to make this look like any other minor baseball program for these kids. Letting them play at the local fields, providing them with equipment, providing them with a uniform, being on a team, providing opportunities to participate in their own community, in the province, and then with other programs across Canada. Our main goal is to provide equipment that's can be used to adapt, so anyone can play no matter their circumstances or abilities. This program has been around since the late 1980s in the States and in Canada. A lot of those programs when we first started were out west, BC and Alberta. Since 2012, we've seen Little League Canada and Baseball Canada be involved. We've seen our program grow from mid-20s now. Starting in 2017, Jays Care Foundation with the Toronto Blue Jays became involved. So we've really grown from there, working together. And now we're over 100 programs across Canada, up to over 8,000 athletes. So yeah, our biggest thing is providing opportunities and using baseball as a vehicle to let these kids succeed, gain confidence, be a part of a team, make friendships, and do all things that sports do. And that's the opportunity that we try to provide through baseball.
Awesome. So you just touched a little bit, Randy, on the history of Challenger Baseball and the history specifically in Canada. So the first time Challenger Baseball is a Little League baseball program. They were the founders of the program, but Baseball Canada, as you mentioned, really got involved in 2012. And like you said, was primarily being run in the western part of the country. But if you can just talk about the growth, Randy, that the program has experienced across the country in a really short eight-year period since Baseball Canada got on board, and of course the partnership with Little League Canada and the Jays Care Foundation, just how many programs were kind of running at that point in 2012 to the point today where you mentioned we have over 100, and who are kind of some of the people that were spearheading the efforts to really grow the program across the country?
Sure. Back in 2012, I believe there's around 25 to 28 programs. At that point in time, like I say, it was a Little League Canada program. We really started talking, like, if we really want this to grow, it's important for us to partner Little League Canada, Baseball Canada, because you're hitting all the programs, minor baseball programs, Little League programs, and really, we're not dealing with championships here. We're not dealing with provincials. We're dealing with providing opportunities for kids to play baseball. Um, Ian McLean was the national coordinator at that time. He really spearheaded the push to get the Toronto Blue Jays involved, to get Baseball Canada involved, really at the grassroots level of saying, okay, why aren't there more programs? And, setting up those policies and procedures of this is how you start a program. This is what we can do to support you. And that grew. People started saying, yeah, it makes sense. It is something that's we should be offering. And as it became, the Blue Jays have been involved the whole time with their national jamborees, and then stuff was starting to grow, and they realized, geez, this is something we really want to be involved with Jays Care. 2017, they said, we really want to take a leadership role in this. They got on board, so we had, with Baseball Canada, Little League Canada, Little League International, the Jays Care, Blue Jays Baseball Academy. You get all these people together. There's some powerful partnerships there, and it really, with the resources we had, we were really able to touch these communities and say, hey, this is what Challenger Baseball is. This is what we can offer you to support you. If you want to learn more, here's what we can do for you. Here's some education. Here's some training, and try to make it as simple as possible and support people as much as we can as they get this program off the ground. And like I say, we've seen it really snowball, especially since 2016, 2017. I want to say we're at 110 programs now, and that could be more once COVID's done. But that's the biggest thing is we want you, if you're interested in doing it, some of our coordinators are people who've been involved with baseball for 20, 30 years. And some of our coordinators are new to it, just parents who want to provide the opportunities for their kids. So we want to provide support for everyone, no matter their background or their experience. And, that is providing financial support where we can, provide travel support when we can, adapted equipment, training sessions, even stuff like this, Zoom sessions where we can talk to people from across Canada and answer the questions they have. And then just as you see it snowball, you see more posts on social media, you see more posts, emails, you see more families getting involved. And especially youth population families are really tight-knit. So word of mouth is huge for us as well. Provide a quality program and then let word of mouth grow from there. So all those things combined over the last 8 years, we've really seen it grow. And not just in terms of programs, but the quality programs that are being offered. People are gaining an understanding of what's required to provide a quality program. And volunteers, we're getting more of those people step up. And it's really shown in the quality of programming we have, as well as the opportunities that are available for these families.
And what about your role specifically, Randy? When did you first get involved in Challenger Baseball? I know you're obviously heavily involved locally and in your province of Nova Scotia, but when did you first get involved, and how did your role kind of evolve to where today you're the national coordinator for Challenger Baseball Canada?
Sure. No, when I was in university, I went to Katie University in Wolfville, and they had a program called the Smile Program, very similar to Challenger Baseball. We were buddied with children and youth with various disabilities, and we did stuff in the gym, motor skills. We did stuff in the pool, and it really gained an appreciation, and I really enjoyed my time with that. And as I graduated, I grew up playing softball and baseball, and had the opportunity. I found out about Challenger Baseball, had the opportunity to kind of continue with Smile through Challenger Baseball and the whole of baseball. It just made sense. I talked to Ian and a few others about what was required. At that point in time, I was involved with the minor program here in Agnish. Started the program here. That snowballed into growing the program through Nova Scotia, and then getting involved with Challenger Baseball Canada. And when Ian stepped down, an opportunity arose that I could take over. So it was something I definitely jumped at to be involved. In terms of my role, I mean, I have basically advocating for Challenger Baseball and our athletes to provide opportunities, working alongside Baseball Canada, Little League Canada, and Jays Care to help develop and grow the program. And it sounds It sounds fancy with the national coordinator beside my name, but in all honesty, I'm just a small piece of a huge group of people who've grown it. We have at least one, in some provinces, two provincial coordinators. We have the great crew from JSCare who've grown, and then all that down to the community coordinators. We have some fantastic people who have had the opportunity to meet who take the time. With anything like a volunteer, there's a lot of time spent growing the programs, coming to training sessions, and just growing it across Canada. And that goes all the way down to families who believed in our program and brought their kids there and taken over volunteer spots as well as all the buddies who come. So, I mean, my role is to work with everyone to develop and grow, whether it's someone who wants to grow their program, someone who wants to start a program, maybe a buddy who wants to get involved. We set them up with the contacts to contact the right community program to get involved. And basically, if anyone wants to be involved, we find a way so they can be involved. So, I mean, it's my role is kind of that, to help whoever I can to help grow the program. And I'm supported by, thousands of just fantastic people.
There's obviously some great resources for communities and for people looking to get involved, starting programs, get involved in their local program on the internet and whatnot, and through JSCare and through Challenger Baseball Canada. But just for people watching today, Randy, what does a typical Challenger baseball session look like? And you've talked about the word buddies. And maybe if you can just explain what the role of a buddy is during a Challenger session and how vital these people are to the running of a Challenger baseball program.
Sure. Like I always say, you can have all the money, ideas, resources in the world, but you need buddies to run this program. So, buddy, if you're an athlete coming to Challenger baseball, you partner with a buddy. Our buddies last year range from 6 years old up to 8 years old. Buddies come and they volunteer their time to help keep our athletes safe, help them, encourage them, and participate, and do whatever they need to help with. They're right there by their sides during each section. And keeping them safe is the big thing, but really just anything they need so they can participate. Like I said, we have one child who just needs someone to run alongside them. They can hit and they can throw and catch no problem, but they just need someone beside them to encourage them. We have other kids who might not be able to hold a bat, so they need assistance from their buddies to do that. But again, we need those buddies to help us out. Like anything, we need those volunteers. In terms of what a Challenger baseball session looks like, with our 110 programs, we probably have 110 programs that look differently in some way. But the common goal is make sure these kids can have the opportunity to play. Some programs come and they may have a bit of a league where they play games against each other. Some do some skills to start off the program. That might be throwing one week and running the bases next week, or getting around the bases and playing some games. Everything's a little different, and a lot of times it works with the athletes you have. So to say what an actual program looks like is difficult to do because they're all so different. But the big thing is getting the kids in the field, playing with each other. That could be a game situation. That could be just doing some stations and drills, much like a rally cap program would look like. Maybe one program's hitting, other kids in the programs in the field, or other teams in the field, another group's out in the field doing some skills, and you're rotating around. The biggest thing is you want to keep these kids active. Most of our evenings are around 50 minutes to an hour, and when they're there, we want to make sure that they're being active and burning off energy and having a good time. So I guess that's it. Each program we say adapt to what you have with the resources and go from there. So it's a mixture of skills, a mixture of games, a mixture of, sometimes we've had soccer, baseball games break out. We've had flag football games break out in the middle of our thing. So our biggest thing is we're not worried about winning or losing. But we're about having the fun and having that team atmosphere and the camaraderie.
Amazing. I've personally seen Challenger programs run in the past, and you touched on it earlier. It is a ton of fun to be part of for volunteers and participants alike. So we talked a bit, or you talked a bit, Randy, earlier about the growth of the program across Canada and some of the different things that have happened. But one of the things I also wanted to touch on was some of the amazing projects that have gone on across the country in terms of building accessible challenger diamonds. So if you can just maybe mention a couple of them. I know there's one that's particularly close to home for you, that project that recently completed last year, and just kind of some of the things that went into making these projects a reality across the country, and some of the attributes that a accessible field would have to cater to these athletes.
Sure. Yeah, like I say, a lot of our athletes have some form of mobility issue, whether it's a wheelchair, walker, cane. Some kids just need to, don't use any of those, but do have balance issues. And not just our players, but our buddies and our family members. We want everyone to be able to come in and play. So accessible ball fields have really taken off over the last few years, definitely with the support of the Field of Dreams grant through JSCARE. We've seen fields built in Vancouver, Ottawa. There's a bunch more in the process, like one in Toronto and a couple more through Ontario. There's a field in Moncton, as well as our field here in Anganich. Basically, we looked at it and said, one point in time we were just playing on an old grass field that was pretty uneven. As our program grew, we said, hey, let's see what we can do, and the support there. Our field includes, and a lot of these fields includes a flat playing surface, whether that's turf or more of a sponge field. One, it's safe to get around. Two, if anyone were to trip and fall, it's softer. Wheelchair accessible dugouts are huge. A lot of the fields we played at first either didn't have dugouts, or there was a lift to get up to the dugouts, which was difficult for some of our wheelchair athletes. The doors are wider around the fencing. And in reality, the difference between an accessible field and a regular ball field are minimal, but they're needed. We have some of our kids who the wheelchairs were too wide to get through the fencing. They had to go, for a 5-minute walk to go to the outfield fencing. And we wanted to change that. Our thought was, if you were someone who had mobility issues, we want to make it easy for you to get from the parking lot onto the field, play, and then get off. So I know the program in Vancouver has a turf infield, as does ours. Some programs have fully turf fields. And then the flatness there. And our really hope is when we pushed our field here in Anganich, we were really pushing to say it's a fully accessible ball field. These are the reasons, but we're hoping as a whole that, these ball fields won't be all accessible ball fields forever. The new normal is when you're building a ball field that you're taking in these considerations. Because there are challenger programs out there, there's special needs programs out there. There's just a community in general that wants to come down and play. It's not just limited to people who, can walk. It's people who have mobility issues and they can come play. So that was a big thing when we were developing it. And I think everyone I've talked to when they're developing these fields is, okay, how can I make this the easiest possible? Is it ramps? Is it bigger ways to get into the field, bigger dugouts? And really, when you look at it, the changes are minimal to make this all fields accessible.
Of course, Randy, the COVID-19 pandemic has had an effect on all of us. It's had an effect on the sporting world, and it's no different with Challenger baseball. Just kind of give our viewers an idea of what Challenger baseball currently looks like, given the circumstances in terms of what programs can and can't do, and how are some of the decisions made by Challenger Baseball Canada in terms of best practices and advice to local communities looking to run a Challenger program this year, given the current circumstances?
Sure. Back in March and April, when this was kind of first starting, we were playing the wait and see, like a lot of people. What are we going to be able to do, not do? And as COVID grew and as guidelines grew, kind of said, are we going to be able to do this safely for our kids? I think everyone wants to be on the field. Everyone feels they're playing, but we want to make sure our kids and our athletes are safe. And we've met numerous times with Little League Canada, Baseball Canada, and JSCARE. And it came down to is right now, I think that with the guidelines that are out there, provincially and federally, we decided to recommend that program's been postponed until September 15th. Again, a lot of disappointment from all involved. When it came down to it, everyone was, realized that it was probably the smart choice. A lot of our athletes, are high risk population, and we didn't want anyone to get sick just because of Challenger baseball. So we did put the recommendation out for programs to postpone until then, and really after that, hopefully we can get into our fall winter leagues, then get back to a regular or normal program, whatever that looks like in 2021. Again, disappointment, but people realize, I think from what people I've talked to, that it was probably the safest and the best choice to make for the team, for our players. With that being said, there's also opportunities here now for virtual Challenger baseball opportunities through the Jays Care. They've been providing training for coordinators who want to run a virtual Challenger baseball, whether that's an actual skill things through Zoom, or it's just families and friends getting together from Challenger just to see each other and talk, and so that's at least hang out for a little bit, even though it's virtually. Jays Care are also been providing, they provided somewhere around 1,100 adaptive equipment kits to Challenger baseball athletes, so they can do Challenger baseball at home. So that's some of the things they're doing. It's not it's ideal, it's not on the field, but in the circumstances, it's pretty amazing. That opportunity is there. Equipment's there, so families can run a little session with their kids at home. And then coordinators who want to run something virtually can learn about it, learn how Zoom works, learn how a virtual Challenger baseball session will look like. And so I mean, it's right now we're postponed. There are some programs that are looking to start maybe a little earlier than that, and they're working with their health authorities, the provincial governments, to see if that's something that can be done. Right now, there's no programs running.
Right. So, Randy, we'll kind of wrap up here in a second, but
Sure.
Before we do, obviously there's a highlight on the Challenger baseball calendar in any given year would be the National Challenger Jamboree, and that normally would take place in Toronto at Rogers Centre, of course, home of the Toronto Blue Jays. Given the circumstances, what we were just talking about, that's just not possible this year to bring everyone to Toronto to partake in the Jamboree. But Challenger Baseball Canada, of course, the Jays Care Foundation are looking to run a virtual National Challenger Baseball Jamboree this year, which is going to take place next month. So, Randy, why don't you talk about that event and how people can get involved, and maybe some highlights, if you can, on what exactly is going to happen. And that's going to be August 8th. So just give us an update on the virtual Jamboree.
Sure. Like I say, for the last 7 years, there's been a national Jamboree in Toronto. With COVID, it wasn't something we wanted to give up. We wanted to try something different. This year, the virtual Challenger Baseball Jamboree is going to be divided into 9 innings, 9 sessions, and families can either sign up for one session, all 9, a mixture of that. And there's going to be special things going on each inning. We won't throw all those out there yet, what those are going to be, but there's a lot of cool things that are going to happen. And then say it's the first time doing this, so there's going to be probably a few speed bumps and bugs along the way. But right now, I think there's somewhere between 450 and 500 families signed up for this. So it's going to be, cool just to see everyone together and celebrating Challenger baseball. And that's what the National Jamboree is for. You can't be in person, but it's pretty cool. We're going to try it this way and see how it goes. And pretty excited for it. That'll be Saturday, August 8th.
Awesome. It's coming up. So, Randy, just before I let you go, if people want to find information about the Jamboree, if people want to find information about Challenger baseball, how they can start a program in their community, maybe if there's a program already in their community, how they can get involved, any information basically on Challenger baseball, where do people go to find that out?
We actually have a brand new website that was developed this year. Big shout out to Steve Bagnall, our provincial coordinator from Ontario, who really spearheaded the organization of this. ChallengerBaseballCanada.ca. You'll find information about programs available right now in Canada, contact information for each province, contact information for myself, Jay's Care. There's documents there, how to start a program, resources that are available, applications to apply for travel grants, for different things like shirts and hats. All that's there as a kind of a one-stop shop about what Challenger Baseball is, how to be a buddy, who can be a buddy, videos, pictures. So we cover everything into one spot for people who experience Challenger programs, inexperienced people who just want to know about it, families, buddies. All that information should be there. And if something you can't find, please contact us and let us know. We're also using this website as a place to register for our virtual programs, the National Jamboree. So anything Challenger, go there, take a peek, and say challengerbaseballcanada.ca. Just started up last month, and hopefully there's all the information you need. If it doesn't, let us know, and we'll get that information to you.
Awesome. Randy, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us today. Best of luck with the virtual Jamboree, and really hope that we get to see you on a baseball field sometime soon.
Bye, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Take care.